Guys, I think this is really interesting and exciting. So I wanted to come live very quickly and tell you what's going on. Basically, it was just announced that the FDA has authorized the first COVID-19 diagnostic test that uses breath samples. That's right. So, right now, when we get our COVID tests, sometimes we use mouth swabs, sometimes we do those nasal swabs, sometimes those nasal swabs have to go all the way up in here, it seems like. But I'm going to read to you what the FDA says about this new way to diagnose COVID, which, by the way, could open up the door for a lot of not this, all the way up in the nose. All right, so this is the press release by the FDA. I think this is fascinating, so I wanted to come to you guys and tell you because, again, I think this could be a game changer. The press release says that the U.S. FDA, Food and Drug Administration, has issued an emergency use authorization for the first COVID-19 diagnostic test. That what it does is it detects chemical compounds in breath samples that are associated with SARS-CoV-2 infection, which, of course, that's the virus that causes COVID-19, okay? So it detects chemicals in your breath that's associated with the virus. And this is interesting. The FDA press release says that the test can be performed in environments where the patient specimen is both collected and analyzed. So it can be done like in doctor's offices, it can be done in hospitals, also can be done in mobile testing sites. And the instrument, like the size of this device, the breathalyzer, I guess you might want to call it, they say is about the size of a piece of carry-on luggage. So part of me is kind of like, okay, well, that's not so big. Part of me is also like, well, that's not so small. But, it is what it is. It's the size of a carry-on luggage. It doesn't say how heavy it is or whatever, how easily transportable it is. But at least it's not the size of like large luggage or like the size of a refrigerator, right? It's the size of carry-on luggage. So this is the thing. Okay, let me go on. Okay, so this breathalyzer, it's called the Inspect IR COVID-19 breathalyzer. That's the name of the product that was given the emergency use authorization by the FDA. It was validated by a study of over 2,000, almost 2,500 people. Those some who had symptoms, some who did not. In the study, the test was shown to have a sensitivity that's about 91.2% sensitivity, which basically means that's the percent of positive samples that the test actually identified correctly, okay? And a 99.3% specificity. That means specificity means the percent of negative samples that the test correctly identified. And let's see here. So it also had it had a negative predictive value of 99.6. I know this is a lot of medical gobbledygook, but I think this is important for my healthcare folks or healthcare sciencey, statistically folks out there. But basically 99.6% negative predictive value, which means that people who received a negative test result very likely actually had a true negative. You know how I'm often talking about how like a negative COVID test doesn't mean you don't have COVID, right? And I've done a video on that. So this is saying that that's a pretty decent number, okay? In terms of how accurate it is. Okay, so it uses gas chromatography, gas mass spectrometry. That's how it sort of identifies and sort of separates the gases. A lot of this, again, is science gobbledygook. What they do say is that with using this breathalyzer, because once again, it detects gases that are associated with the SARS-CoV-2 virus, if you get a positive result, it should be actually confirmed with a molecular test, like a PCR test, okay? So a negative test should be considered in the context of the patient's exposure, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, there are also caveats with that. Anyway, Isaac, thank you so much for saying the word spectrometry properly for me. Mass spec. So this is a lot of stuff, but this is according to the FDA press release. I think it's fascinating. This is not the first time we've heard about breathalyzer tests to check for COVID-19. I just haven't done any videos on it, and we really didn't have one that was FDA approved. But there are articles out there. There are articles talking about how it's being looked into and yada yada blah 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 blah. So yeah, I think this is really interesting. It'll be interesting to see who uses it, how many people and organizations and stuff use it. If this becomes more widespread, it certainly could be easy. I'm thinking if you're able to just like have somebody breathe in something when they get to the airport or whatever. But I guess it depends on how long it takes for the test to be processed and all that other stuff. I don't have those details, but if you guys hear, and by the way, thank you guys for the stars, and thank you for joining me. It's great to see you guys. If you guys hear news, which you probably will today, if you're on the Googler Schmoogler, you'll probably hear news about a breathalyzer test to check for COVID-19. That's what this is. The press release was just released. So yeah, let's see what's going on. And Barbara, you're asking how accurate it is. I did mention the specificity and sensitivity: 91.2% sensitive and 99.3% specific. So not so bad there. Anyway, guys, I want to hear your thoughts, okay? Would you welcome this? Would you do this type of test over the other tests, the oral or the nose? Does it not matter to you? Is this just like a, I think it's fascinating. But let me know what you guys think. You guys are amazing. Thanks for joining me. Just wanted to let you know that interesting news. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen. If you've not liked and follow my page, please, guys, like and follow my page so you can get videos and stuff. Those of you who are sending stars, I respond to you personally. Thank you so much. And consider joining my subscription groups, Dr. Jen Superstars. And you guys know I still have my group called I Got the COVID Vaccine. It's on the pinned comment. We talk all things COVID. So if you got questions about the vaccine, etc., join us. All right, guys, I love you. Bye.